Stand by.
And good Monday, Super Bowl Monday morning. I'm Christian Gibbons, and this is another edition of the Sports Guys for the week of February 9th, 2025. And the Philadelphia Eagles, what do they say? Fly, Eagles, fly.
No doubt.
And they did last night. It was a really, really good, stunning almost performance by the Eagles. Yeah. You know, the Kansas City was favored by 1.5, and the underdogs, if you want to call them underdogs, pulled off the huge upset last night. Mahomes got sacked 6 times. Kansas City had 2 turnovers, one of them for a pick 6. And guys, it was an all-out beatdown from start to finish.
It was not even a game. I mean, from the first snap. I mean, they didn't get across the 50-yard line on the first 9 possessions.
Well, you wondered how Kansas City even got there.
Yeah.
When they had played that way against
anybody,
half a dozen
the
other
Bills,
teams, they'd have
Brighton.
lost.
Yeah, Brighton High School would have beat them.
Sure.
Oh, Belleville would have.
Belleville.
Belleville, too.
But I heard a stat in the pregame yesterday on the radio. The Kansas City Chiefs went 17 games in a row winning by one possession.
Yeah.
So they were on a high wire act basically all season long. Right. And so it just like the Lions a couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now, with the Lions it was injuries, and with Kansas City it was their luck just ran out.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes played, I think, one of the worst games I've ever seen him play, college or NFL.
Yeah, he couldn't hit the ground with the ball.
Travis Kelce was a non-factor. Saquon Barkley for the Eagles, he was kind of the star they thought might have a big game. Kansas City thought that too. That's why they covered him a lot more. Right. So I don't want to say he was a non-factor, but
who won the MVP?
He won the Jalen Hurts.
Who?
Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for Philadelphia.
Okay.
And so Saquon Barkley, you've got to be, if you're a Giants fan, you have to be livid at the fact that you gave away Saquon Barkley for practically nothing.
Nothing.
And he turns around the next year, wins the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
And the rushing record.
And the rushing records. So, but and between him and the Lions, and it's a new NFL. Well, I shouldn't say it's a new old NFL. We're back to running the rock a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think Kansas City focused so much on the run that the secondary was wide open. They were playing a lot of one-on-one, and the Eagles were eating them up. I mean, Jalen Hurts was, on target, man. He was hitting them left and right. Anybody and everybody out there.
Well, and I think, like you said before we went on the air, Kansas City's passing game just was non-existent.
Right. Yeah.
They were going for long passes. It wasn't working.
Right.
And so you needed your short game to Kelce like they play, and it just wasn't happening. I don't know if they read the defense and thought it wasn't practical, but at some point, you've got to change what you're doing if you're down 24-0 or what was it at halftime?
You'd think, like I said, and you would have thought that they would have changed earlier on, especially when you started getting sacked. It's like, man, your offensive line cannot hold up when you're running downfield passes.
What offensive line?
True. Huh? Yeah, like say, it wasn't until the fourth quarter where it was like there was any semblance of an offense.
I think all of us read too much of the media reports
and the hype
when we were picking them and thinking about what had happened during the year, because they sure didn't live up to any of that kind of stuff.
Well, and when you listen to sports talk radio, it's not always accurate, but a couple of the guys here locally always say, listen to Vegas. Vegas will tell you what's going to happen. And only being a 1.5 favorite, that should have told you that Kansas City wasn't all they were cracked up to be.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because the Kansas City Chiefs were 1.5 point favorite, but the line gave 56% chance to win to the Eagles.
Huh.
It's like
No.
They were hedging their bet there.
Well, of course they were.
Where they could kind of cover both ends, figuring everybody's going to go on Kansas City and Kansas City's going to win big. It's like, you need to kind of spread it out. Yeah, so it was a weird one for sure.
It was a weird, and the Super Bowl is always kind of weird. It's a weird game to watch. It's a weird with all the extra timeouts and the longer halftime.
Halftime seemed to go on forever.
Yeah, it just, they got to build a stage. They got to turn it into a concert venue and then turn it back into a football field.
Come on.
But I think it's a 30-minute halftime for the Super Bowl.
It's way, way too long.
And they add an extra 4 minutes of commercials to each quarter. That's why the game broadcast is 4.5 hours instead of 3.5 to 4 hours.
Oh yeah,
like it is. So
I got to get all the commercials in there.
So
like I say, it was quite an unbelievable.
Yeah, it was
outcome.
Unbelievable, and not in a good way.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we move on from football. Football season is over. We move on to, as you can see, the Tigers report to Lakeland this week. Pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday. And then the first full team workout will be on Friday. And then their first preseason spring training game will be on the 22nd. So we're moving into baseball season. We had a couple of signings earlier in the month. Jack Flaherty is back with the Tigers in the starting rotation.
2 years, right?
For, I believe it's a 2-year deal with a 1-year buyout. I think it's on the player. It's a 1-year opt-out. On that deal. So we're looking at brighter skies, warmer weather, and I, for one, am excited that baseball is back, especially since the Tigers got hot last year and made the playoffs, which I think shocked everybody.
That was surprising. Yeah, I was really surprised.
So
it happened.
Now if they just get smart and get a new third baseman.
Right. Yeah.
We've heard this so long.
You know
But they put all their marbles in one basket, man, with all the kids they bring in. They need some kind of guys, like say
Alex Bregman. So we're on Alex Bregman watch. I've been on this watch for probably a month now, and I won't stop talking about it. I'm probably irritating people because I won't stop talking about it. So at last check, he still wants a long-term deal with a giant payday, and Scott Boras is his agent. And if you follow sports and baseball at all, Scott Boras is a hard sell.
Yeah.
So at some point, the Tigers are supposedly the favorites, but at some point, either he's gonna end up with a 1-year deal at Toronto for no money. Or we're going to have to pay him 4 to 5 years or something like that. But I don't think he's going to get the long-term deal that he wants for the money he wants, now that this has dragged on for months. So
Green is getting a lot of good publicity.
Yes, he is. Riley Green, he'll most likely make the team. Spencer Torkelson is kind of on the line.
You better believe it, yeah.
And I think part of that is the Alex Bregman storyline here is, what do you do with Torque? Because do you DH him? I mean, he's a decent first baseman, so so it's. I don't want to say it's a mess, but we just need to figure out who our third baseman is, and that will kind of fill some holes.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually saw an article this morning that they're talking about, or people are rumoring that Torkelson will be getting some outfield practice in the spring so that they can keep the bat in the lineup when he's hot, and that way that opens up the DH spot, it opens up first base, and they can give a little more flexibility to A.J. Hinch to make the lineup. So
there you go.
So that'll
in
be
other words,
to
you
watch.
keep a guy just because he's going to be hot for 2 weeks, and then he's
right,
gone
and then
for
you send him down to Toledo for 6
yeah.
months like they did last year. But Tigers baseball is back, and like I said, their first preseason game is on a spring training game is on the 22nd. That's a Saturday, and that game will be on the radio. So if you have a radio, 1270 AM.
There you go.
And then their first TV game will be on what they call FanDuel Sportsnet. So if you've got that service, that'll be on Sunday the 23rd. Then on Wednesday, February 26th, we will have the game on at Windows Cafe. That's at 1 p.m. against Minnesota. So come on down to Windows Cafe and catch the game with us. Do we have any college football news, or are we kind of quiet on the college front?
College is pretty quiet. Like I say, there's a few people going into the draft that unexpectedly, but like I say, nothing major. Like I say, I don't know what the lineup is for the draft, but like I say, it's not all that impressive.
Okay, now we got football in what, 5 weeks? It showed what is it? The UFL.
Yeah, the UFL, Michigan Panthers. I can pull up the schedule here.
Yeah.
Now, you like football. Would you watch them?
I watch them. Yeah, because I mean that's where the Lions got their kicker.
Yeah, I
And
know
they-
that.
yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, and that guy can kick it from the end zone. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, are the rules the same as NFL?
Similar, very similar.
They're not that
Like I say, that's where-
rizzy
that's
tizzy stuff that
That's
we
actually where the NFL got their kickoff
by the
design right now.
Yeah.
You
Was
know,
from the USF?
Philadelphia's kicker was very good.
There you go.
He kicked a couple 50-yarders,
Yeah.
and a couple were called back, and he got a 5-yard penalty, and he kicked the next. And I mean, it was never a doubt. It was
Yeah,
right
there you
down the middle.
Yeah, because like I
When
say,
they
Lions were
show
booting
it
them from 50 plus.
Behind him as he's coming up there. Doesn't that look like a long way to
Oh,
kick
yeah.
that
Yeah.
ball?
It is a long way.
That is
yards,
a
that's a pretty
long
long way.
sucker.
That's a long way.
To have that thing going so well.
Yeah.
Well, and some of those balls that were 50 yards, they cleared the goalpost. They were
A couple. I
almost
saw one of them. I
back
caught
in
one of
the-
them went over the net last
Yeah,
night. Yeah,
right.
Hey, do they have to give that ball back?
probably.
Oh, shucks.
It's
They used to take the balls back.
Yeah.
Security.
Yeah, oh.
yeah. They probably give you like a ball from the pro shop or something as a souvenir. But yeah,
You
Those
mean one of those
game-
balls that don't have all
Yeah,
the
right.
air in them? Like
a Tom Brady ball.
There you go.
Speaking of Tom Brady, he did pretty well last night.
I like him.
I didn't
yeah.
see
Yeah,
too
he
many
does a good
complaints.
job. Color guy, yeah.
Scorebug. This is the TV nerd in me. That scorebug was horrendous. That graphic at the bottom with the score, I thought that looked horrendous.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to get used to.
Yeah, it reminded me of 2025, but also trying to be old 70s Monday Night Football, where the numbers were just out there, no background or anything. But you know, that's just the TV nerd in it. Anyway, we were talking about the Michigan Panthers. They opened their season at Memphis against the Memphis Showboats. That game will be on March 30th at noon.
Wow.
And you can watch that game on ESPN. So,
Oh, ESPN's going to pick
yep,
up.
ESPN and Fox have that contract. So,
Hey, that's a good one for them when you consider
Yeah.
they've started up and now they're on
yeah,
a
well,
good network.
well, Fox owns a piece of the league.
Oh,
so-
Oh,
It's,
I
it's a
didn't
way
know.
for them to
Oh.
fill
Oh.
their sports schedule in the summer when they don't have baseball on.
I wasn't getting ESPN on my TV. I was getting ESPN too,
Oh, okay.
but then I'd try to flip it to 40, which is ESPN, and I'd get 38 or something like that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
strange.
Very, very.
Buy a new
Funny.
TV. Buy
Yeah,
a new
right.
TV.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Or put more
but-
two-cycle oil in it before you start it up. I don't know.
boy.
yeah, I don't know what it is with the cable service, but a lot of people were having a problem getting Fox for a while.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I never had a problem here in the office, but so Daytona 500 is
Next week,
next
16.
Sunday, and we are looking forward to that. You got any news on that?
Well, that every the color the darn people put different colors on their cars, and you know after a few years you get to know the colors, like Logano and so on. And I know, and they're changing their colors. And remember, they're going at such a speed that, and their numbers are big, sure. If it's standing still,
Right.
But the cars are going so rapidly, it's going to take me 20 minutes to figure this out.
Well, and Denny Hamlin, I know, as I follow him, they've changed his color scheme throughout the season, just depending on this. They have one, I think Napa or something,
They're
as
wrapping
one-
them now.
as one sponsor, but then 3 or 4 races out of the year, he's a totally different color, and it's like, yeah, sure, like you said, the numbers are fine until they start moving at
Yeah,
200
well,
miles an hour, and
Yeah, then color is all you got.
it's like when
But anyway, Daytona, it's a wonderful thing, but I still go back to when Earnhardt was killed. I was at that thing,
Oh,
and
wow.
it still sticks in my mind.
I would think, yeah.
It's just, and you didn't, believe me, the people at home on TV had more knowledge of what happened than what we did
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They shielded it so well that we were at a hamburger joint afterwards before we got word that he had died.
Well, it didn't look all that bad compared to
No.
some of the accidents that they had.
I'll tell, but they shielded.
Right.
Other cars were there, and no matter where you sat, you couldn't see anything.
yeah.
It was just anyway. That's a wonderful time of the season, and I'm happy it's with cars because I've been there when they've had the motorcycles. Forget it. Forget it. That is not the place to go then. But it's a wonderful time.
It's a
down
great,
there.
it's a great little. I mean, Daytona is not a huge town,
Right.
and I've never been there on race weekend, but I have a friend of mine who she works about 1,000 feet from the speedway,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they work from home on race week, so she'll be working from home this week because
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
there's
they're-
just no point in trying to get to the office
No,
on race weekends. But yes, we're looking forward to the Daytona 500. IndyCar starts up soon, and so spring is trying to sprung as much as it can, so we're moving on. Red Wings looked pretty good. They lost on Saturday,
Yeah.
but after a seven-game win streak, had they gotten their 8th win, that would have been the first time since 2008 they would have had an 8-game win streak. So
Yeah,
that's
man.
a little history that was not made. And the
They're
Pistons,
knocking on the door.
Pistons are on
Pistons.
fire as well.
And our big
Pistons
boy.
looked really good the other
They-
night.
They
Yeah.
do look really good. Yesterday they
my
won.
gosh, they were miles ahead of what was it?
Charlotte?
Charlotte yesterday. Yep.
Charlotte, yeah.
They won 112 to 102 was the final yesterday. I don't know why you schedule any other game on Super Bowl Sunday, but they did. And so they are on a streak. I believe they're the 6th seed currently in the conference for the playoffs. So at the very least, they are in the hunt for the playoffs. They'll probably make the play-in tournament, and if they keep playing the way they're playing. So fun times here in Detroit.
Yeah, finally got it turned around.
For
Yeah,
now.
things all the way around.
Yeah.
You got maybe 30 seconds here to say U of M athletic department gave out their amount of money that they made or lost last year. Shockingly, some of the things. They wound up with an excess money of $4 million. They made that much money, $4 million. Does that sound like a lot? Well,
Not so.
when you consider that their budget, is running $33 million, and you can count that far ahead. Some of the things I found out that rental, they had to pay $17 million strictly for rental for their games. Team travel was $15 million.
That's what happens when you add West Coast
Private
teams.
jets.
Yep.
And
And
bowl
they don't travel
expenses.
inexpensively.
No.
No, they
Bowl
travel
They're
expenses.
not
first
riding.
class.
They're not riding a bus to
Yeah,
Oregon.
right.
Just shockingly, the amount of money. When you win these things and guys are leaving, it sounds good. But sometimes you got to pay them off also if their contract said that if I go somewhere else, I get something. That was almost, $4.3 million they had to pay to other people there. But
Well, the,
money came in also from the other part. So we did wind up ahead. As I said, we made $4 million.
The golf program has gotten into some of the regular kind of tournaments. Of course, we just finished the Pebble Beach one, and before that was Torrey Pines. This week was the Phoenix Open, which, if we all remember, I think was the one that Phil Mickelson won when he was still in college. But anyway, this was surprising in the fact that Thomas Dietrich, you probably never heard of him.
No.
But Thomas Dietrich is from Belgium. He is the first Belgian to win a PGA tournament.
Oh.
And not only did he win it, he won it by 7 strokes.
Whoa.
Wow.
We're used to coming down the stretch and it's a stroke or two and you know, come into the last hole and who sinks the putt to win the tournament. He was so far ahead, it was kind of like the Super Bowl, 34 to nothing or 24 to nothing at the half.
Is that kind of day or what? You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, he won his first tournament. He was a golfer on the University of Illinois, and when they had a really good team, and he has played in 68 PGA tournaments.
Oh my
So
God!
it's
Oh.
not like he's never played, but suddenly he comes out of the blue and he's just miles ahead of anybody else.
Kind of like the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
So that was next week. They're playing in the Genesis tournament out in California, and this supports some of the work that Tiger Woods is doing, and they expect Tiger to play in this.
Yeah, he's committed to Genesis.
So we'll see. You know, every year we go back to Tiger because he's a big draw,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
and everybody is wondering, is this going to be the year that he's going to make a comeback or not? So we'll see.
Just
But-
can't wait till Charlie starts playing pro, and then
I'll
it'll
tell you.
it'll be
yeah.
Charlie on the way. I had just a couple more things. Michigan and Michigan State basketball, men's basketball, are 2, and Michigan State is 2nd in the Big Ten,
There you go.
and Michigan is 3rd in the Big Ten in basketball standings. So basketball's good here in Michigan, and then Michigan State hockey is number 1 in Big Ten hockey standings. They have 43 points. They're 13-4-3 in Big Ten hockey. So Michigan State and Trey Augustine, who is a Red Wings draft pick, who will most likely play for the Red Wings as goalie, and who was also an alum of the National Team Development Program, which you
Oh,
can see right here on
in Plymouth.
CTV, is the starting goalie for Michigan State. So,
Nice.
so he's keeping them in those games. So just a couple of more notes on that. Does anybody have anything else?
The girl.
In the top 25 basketball teams, the Big Ten still has 6 of the 25, but 3 of the bottom 4 are Big Ten.
Well, they'll be
So
moving
they're
up because
least of the best.
number 1 and number
Yeah,
2 both lost.
So anyway, if you lop off the bottom, say the top 20, we've only got 3, so the Big Ten needs to get going.
Okay, who lost 1 and 2? You said this
Yeah,
week?
in college basketball.
I'll be
Auburn, Auburn and Duke both lost, so
Auburn,
Alabama's going to be moving up.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
in
here we go
ladies-
again.
Ladies basketball, they have Michigan beat Michigan State, 71-61. So Michigan ladies kind of stood up and took control.
Good for them.
Beat on Little Sister?
Oh,
Did I say that? I'm sorry.
Well, at least wasn't her adopted.
Well, redheaded
Could've been worse.
stepsister? What? And then just a quick note on the Duke game. It was the first time in almost 2 years that Dick Vitale was back
that
calling
was
a game
wonderful.
after his cancer treatment, and that the ESPN did a wonderful job welcoming him back. The Clemson athletics department really showed out for him, and having met him just a couple of times with my work at U of D, he is a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
And everything you see on TV, sure, It's a little bit of an act, but he is just a sweet, sweet man, and
There
so
you
we're
go.
so glad to see him back on the air, and we hope that continues. And then one other broadcasting note, because again, I'm a TV nerd. Hubie Brown called his last NBA game over the weekend.
Right. There you
He's
go.
95, and he's been doing this for twice my age, probably. He's been doing this forever. Hubie Brown called his last NBA game with Mike Breen over the weekend. Like I said, he's been decades and decades. So just a couple of other
Isn't that
broadcasting
beautiful?
notes.
Yeah, because actually on CTV we're going to have a we're going to have the demonstration of Stella doing the thing tomorrow at what 1:00.
Yeah, we'll have some pictures and highlights of that coming up on one of the next episodes of This Is the Life. And so like he said, Tuesday at 11. If you're watching
Tuesday at
this
11.
Monday or Tuesday, rest of the week that won't matter.
Yeah, because they didn't get out the flyers and stuff.
No,
For
it's
some reason.
unfortunate. Other than that, I think we are good, boys.
Got them
Is
covered.
there anything
Good.
else?
We're
Any
good.
tennis news, real quick?
The French Open is in May, and that's the next big. The majors are the ones that get the publicity. There are small tennis tournaments going on, but nothing
Nobody cares about.
nothing to speak of.
All right. Well, for my guys, I'm Christian Givens, and we will see you next week with highlights of the Daytona 500. So
Have a good
see
day.
you next week.
Bye-bye now.
Okay.